Here.
You were getting a picture of my ceiling.
Oh yeah? We might have to delete some videos. I think something's happening. We have an excellent connection, by the way. I think a picture of us will show up eventually. Ha! I see it.
Yeah, look, it's back.
It's a heck of a lag.
Yeah? Is it actually back though?
Yeah. That's on YouTube. That picture that you're looking at is actually YouTube monitoring. So you're watching what YouTube is receiving from the OBS software.
Oh. It has me on my phone just...
Wow,
it's just getting a little warm. You're shimmering in here too, so...
Oh, is it getting close?
Possibly. I just kind of see that layer of foam going, you know, like there's something under there. It'll pop out and be like, "Brrr!"
Face hugger!
Pull me in your beer, you know.
I would leave. Be like, that's terrifying. I gotta go. What happened at Brew Day? A beer demon drowned Steve in my beer.
Some kind of beer demon reached out and grabbed his face and pulled him right in.
It's terrifying. I had to run. I face a lot of things. Grizzly bear in the woods at night with a switch. No problem. Beer demon?
No way. I'm out.
I don't know how I'm going to explain this to Brandy. Oh.
Who's this? Who's this? Oh, hey, Jade, you made it.
Hooray! On the third shot, on the third broadcast.
Yeah, our third attempt. Yeah, we've been having a fail brew day today.
Ultra fail.
I'd like get up there and get my face in the camera, like, is that what am I reading here? You know. Well, glad you made it. Yeah, I'm on one of my off brew weekends, taking a little break this time since I have beer in the pipeline I need to get through before I add more beer to the pipeline next brew day. Got my system. When I keg it, I'll brew it.
That's good.
Yeah, every time I keg a beer, I'll brew a beer. And the beer I moved today did not go into a keg, it went into secondary fermentation, which is the IPA I made last time. And the beer we're drinking is the English bitter that I made a couple brew days ago.
And the beer we're brewing is a Russian Imperial Stout.
Yes. Rasputin style.
I know nothing of Rasputin.
I know Rasputin didn't leave his beers full though. Damn.
You know, technical difficulties. Just a few. Just a few.
A few.
Nothing we can't get through. You know, we are the most professional broadcast.
We always seem to have this problem. We always have some kind of streaming issue.
Well,
maybe you got OBS more calibrated now. I don't know.
Or if we got professional level software, but sorry.
It's professional. It's just open source professional.
Maybe if I bothered to learn how to use it besides the first 2 or 3 functions.
Yeah, you know, that functionality thing.
Functionality. That's an evil word.
What's it do? Functions.
It functions. It's like, oh, it functions. It's like West Side Story. It's got a social disease. Oh, I got a social disease.
Oh.
That makes sense now. Everything's clear.
So, what does that software package provide? Functionality.
Functionality.
You know, it functions.
It functions. Does it function methodically?
I think so.
You'd have to be a software nerd to get that joke.
Methodically.
Method versus function. Yeah. Haha, you're funny to no one. I'll try harder.
You know, a method and a function are essentially the same thing. how they're called is different. Or how they're, excuse me, software engineering speak, how they're invoked.
Right. Well, that's why the joke works.
Yeah.
Like, does it function methodically? It's like, ah!
Dude.
Some people can pull it off. There's a guy that does a comedy sketch. I've seen him on Dry Bar and a few other places with statistics.
Oh.
And he did one. Oh, this one was funny. I can actually kind of half memorize it or remember it. He did this whole joke about birth rates and global statistics of how many this, that, and the other. He's like, so like 1 in 5 children born in the planet are Chinese, right? Because of the birth rates in China and the birth rates everywhere else. It's like 1 in 5 are Chinese. Keeps going, and he talks really fast and smoothly and stuff. Says, that's right. So what that means is, if you have 4 children, your next one is going to be Chinese.
Wait, what?
And of course, his whole point is not so much. His whole point is that whole how you can make statistics. Willamette.
Both or just one?
2, both of them.
Well met, sir. Well met.
Well, it's a lot of sugar, and so I want to make sure that I get rid of the sweetness.
Yeah.
And even then, this stuff turns out pretty sweet. We should go to pot camp just for fun.
Pot cam.
No, but none of the other broadcasters got pot camp, but you will get pot
pot cam
camp.
is still on me.
Oh, look,
Hi.
there's Steve.
I am not a pot. I am a free man. Yeah, move that over. Oh, if Jamey wants to stir up my crotch.
You never know. There's some twisted women out there. Yeah, that's what you want. Here for no good reason. Might as well just stay on the OBS screen. Okay, that's not quite enough boil.
Yeah, kind of lost your drive there, man.
I still have flame.
Needs some.
Do I still have flame?
Cialis or something. You have plenty.
Okay. Are you sure? Am I smelling
You don't
propane?
have plenty. Did you kill it?
I
Why did you
kill it.
Now you have flame. And now you have boil.
Yeah, it comes back really quick.
Yes, you must have good heat retention in that pot.
Get it under control. That works.
It'll work, man. Good enough.
Yeah, that's not too crazy. If wrong kniff. Actually, my serrated blade is much sharper than my straight blade right now, but it doesn't have a pokey end to stab through the package. 1 package of hops. Whoa. Whoa. You calm down. Calm down. Thank you, Steve.
Hops will do that to you.
Every time.
Speedy spin. Will help it out.
I really need to sharpen this knife. And the next set.
Nice and firmy. Right. Let's, the hops are doing the job.
You ever watch Darkwing Duck?
Yes.
Not Darkwing Duck. Did you ever watch Count Duckula?
Yes. Both actually. And Danger Mouse.
And Danger Mouse. Oh, wow. So that voice you did reminded me of the big... What was she, a nanny?
Probably.
In Duckula?
I was doing more of a Monty Pythons,
Oh, yes.
whenever like one of them plays like an old English woman or something,
That must be a king. Why do you say that? He's not covered in filth. I didn't vote for you. Take it in turns in an autonomous collective.
Oh, I know, right? That one was like, oh my god.
That was probably one of the greatest ones. Hold up! Now we see the violence inherent in the system. That was one of the best sketches in that. You know, that movie was really just a whole bunch of sketches glued together.
Glued together to tell a story of a parody of King Arthur.
And then the very end, it's just like, oh.
There was one of them. I forget his name. One of them was an American. I forget which one it was though.
Terry Gilliam or Palin. What was Palin's first name?
Sarah?
No, it was not. No, Michael.
Michael. Yeah,
it was
either
right. Terry. I
think you're right.
It was either Terry Gilliam or Michael Palin. Yeah, they were from America.
Yeah, they're American. Yeah.
And they moved over there and hooked up with the Monty Python guys. And you know what's interesting? So those guys were very liberal when they were relevant or contemporary, when they would be considered contemporary.
Right.
You know, they were liberal guys. And right now, John Cleese, I mean, people would almost, I don't think I wouldn't consider him a conservative in the political sense, but he is kind of not happy with the woke stuff.
Mm.
I watched him, he got cranky because some girl tried to sucker him into doing some opinion on something, and he stopped the interview. It was one of those Zoom interviews, and he's like, we're done. Took his earplugs off and just walked off. Left the camera rolling, but walked away. Because she was trying, I think he was trying to, no, they were supposed to be plugging his latest project. He had a project, and I forget what the project was.
Okay.
But he was trying to do that, and she tried to get him talking about some political topic, and he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I mean, that's not why we're here.
Right.
You know, I'm out. See ya. I think he's mentioned, like a lot of comedians in particular have gotten upset with the woke culture and the cancel culture because, you know, even the ones who aren't shock comedians, like that one guy who was just over the edge for even you and I.
Oh,
I forget his name. Let's not advertise for him, but he was just over the edge. But even the guys that are a little more reserved like that, you know, people like Dave Chappelle, right? You know, he's edgy for sure, and he makes jokes that bite a little, you know? And we should go back to normal cam for this.
Normal cam.
But I think a lot of comedians, they're just like, they don't like this culture because now they have to be careful in their acts. And it's like, wait a minute. My whole act is quasi-offensive. That's the thing that makes it.
Yeah.
And now you're so offended that you've canceled me. And of course, the strong ones and the good ones, notably Dave Chappelle, have said, no.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, go to hell.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna do my jokes, and I'm just gonna rock on with this. And now you've got kind of a backlash saying, I've seen some white guys doing racially charged humor, which I know that's racist in and of itself to say it that way, but here's the truth, man. For the longest time, white guys didn't get to do racial humor. Well, for a long time before, that's where white guys got to do it, and it was really offensive, and it wasn't funny.
Right.
You know,
it offensive.
It was racism.
Right.
You know, they were making racist jokes, which that's uncool. You know, even, you know, that was just uncool. You know, black man jokes or Polish jokes or Chinese jokes. You know, they were just making fun of immutable characteristics of a population, which is uncool. But then you get like that Alex Raimundo guy that we were laughing about the other day. You know, and he was making jokes. You know, he was tagging on Latinos and Irish people and Indians and all that fun stuff. Or that black guy that did that joke. That joke. Have I said that joke here? Have I redone that here?
I don't remember.
We'll make it safe here. Because his was a little less safe.
Oh.
He said words that only black people can get away with.
Gotcha.
Which, that's still racism, by the way, folks. Anyhow. So this black comedian, I don't know his name. I've seen 2 sketches. I'm going to tell the second sketch too, which is sexist, and it's funny also. So, we'll start with the first sketch, which he's talking about how white women make him uncomfortable.
Oh, I think I remember that one now.
Yeah. This was hilarious. I kind of hope this guy stumbles across his video and drops his name in the comments so I can find him again
That one guy.
Yeah, the one guy. He was wearing the shirt and had a salt and pepper beard. It's like, great, that narrows it down to every black man over the age of 45. Anyhow, he did this joke, and he was talking about how white women make him nervous. And he said he was walking down the street at night because he had to get home, and, you know, I guess he lives in a city where it's more common to walk than anything else.
Right.
Wait.
You never set your timer, did you?
Nonsense. I said it. See? There. Close enough.
Did you adjust?
No. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. I actually want to make sure this is good and bittered, because sometimes this turns out too sweet. In any case, so he said he's walking down the street. He's listening to his music. He's got his AirPods or whatever in. And he looks up ahead. He's like, there's a white woman. He's like, oh.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's a white woman ahead of me. Now she's walking away from him. He's like, I want to. Or maybe she was walking towards him. Doesn't matter. White women make him uncomfortable. Right?
So he goes across the street.
So he goes to cross the street. He's like, I cross the street. I don't want to do this. Like, I'm walking down. There's another white woman. I'm like, oh no. He walks back. Now I'm in the middle of the street. I'm walking down the street. And the cabbie's behind me. You are in the middle of the street. And he's like, Dinesh, I know, but there's a white woman on both sides. And he's like, get in. And so now I'm driving with the cabbie, and the cabbie's lecturing me, and he's like, you have to be careful, my brother. White women and police are very dangerous for you. Yada yada, and he continues the diatribe, this lecture. He's like, you need to take care of yourself, Denzel. And the guy's name is not Denzel. And he says, my name's not Denzel. And the cabbie says, and my name is not Dinesh.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Touche, Mike. And then he says the word that only black people say.
Right.
Which I gotta admit, I thought about telling that joke on here and saying the word. I was like, how edgy do I want to be? It's too edgy. It's an ugly word. You know, going from that joke into a more serious thing, that word is so irredeemable. I don't think even black people should say it. It's no. You know, what up, my? It's like, no. No, man, you can't take that one back. It's an ugly, nasty word. It is so horribly tainted. You can't just forget it. What up, my brother? What's wrong with that? What up, my brother? That's great.
You know what else is ugly and nasty? Empty beer glasses.
All right, and with that, I'm going to tell the next joke that had that same black comedian and another black comedian. But I know that the title of this was Comedians on a Bench. So if you throw that into YouTube, you might run across this one. Oh. This one's good. It's about divorce, homosexuality, heterosexuality, and lesbians.
Wouldn't that fall under homosexuality, though?
You're right. A little redundant. Anyway, so two black guys sitting on the bench, two black comedians. I don't know the name of either one of them, but it is two comedians on a bench, and so you can look it up on YouTube. And
I'll give myself the surge.
You're gonna give yourself the foamy beer?
Yeah. Got it last time.
So the first guy says to the second guy, he says, hey, you know what the divorce rate is among male homosexual marriages? The other guy's like, I don't know. He's like, it's about 26%, right? And so the other guy says, really? And he's like, now, the divorce rate in America among heterosexual marriages is right around 52% or whatever. It is above 50%, right? And then the guy's like, what do you think the divorce rate is among lesbian marriages? Right? And this is another one of those statistic things, right? The guy's like, I don't know. And he says 76%. He's like, I think we see the problem here. See?
That's awful.
So we've done racial humor and sexist humor today. Thank you very much.
Good Lord.
Anyhow, that was funny. But I really, really enjoyed the cabbie joke because it was such this cool twist on, you know, how it's like, because it's like touche, you know? It's like, here we are, oh, you racist people. It's like, oh, look, you have racial prejudices too. That's why I like that movie Crash, because Crash really, you know, it revealed it revealed a lot of like it's like it's not only white against the brown world. You know, there's lots of people who have racial prejudices. Just in the Hispanic world, like Mexicans kind of get a bad rap in the Hispanic world. You know, well they all do. They all bag on each other. Hondurans hate the Colombians. Colombians hate the Nicaraguans. Yeah. Gente sucia.
It's just gonna have to work.
It'll work, dude. Slurp the foam. That sounds really bad.
Why was always so bitter? You ever notice that?
It's because it's high in CO2. CO2 increases the acidity. Carbonated water actually has a lower pH than just normal water. Goodbye, Steve.
Back. Nature.
Nature. And it's time for Jamey alone. So that is an interesting thing that I find that I enjoy well done racial humor. I like folks like Henry Cho. I don't know if you've watched Henry Cho. He's Korean with a southern drawl. So his father is Korean. He is Korean. I think both his parents are Korean. But he's from Tennessee. I think he's from Tennessee. I'd have to look him up where he's from. Point being is he's from the South, like born and raised in the South. Maybe not born, but formative years, everything raised in the South. And he does great jokes, and he just tags on things. I watch the Latin King stuff and some of their stuff. It's got to be tasteful. It just does. It's like the ugly jokes. I don't enjoy the ugly jokes at all. They're not funny. Like we're talking about the old school racist jokes. Black person jokes, Chinese jokes, things like that. Those aren't funny, but just self-deprecating is funny. And I do find it interesting that you're seeing more and more white people being comfortable making racially charged jokes. They're not racist jokes making fun of an immutable characteristic or even a stereotype that doesn't exist, right? But it's like there's a little bit of kickback against we were so sanitized, and now the comedians are like, no, you know what, I'm gonna go this way. And the crowds love it too, because I think the crowds are tired of the sanitization.
Right.
It's like, I am tired of being so careful all the time. I can't say anything. You can't talk about anything but the weather because you're gonna offend someone, and that's the worst thing you can do in the world.
The weather's racist, right? Weather is racist, so we can't even talk about that.
So is maths and classical music.
Maths.
That's nationalist. See, we only do math here in the United States, the best country in the entire planet. Math. We do math.
We don't do maths.
We don't do because there's only one math. There's math. That's it. It's all math. There's not different forms of maths. It's not like 2 + 2 = 5 in this context. It's like, no, there is no context. 2 + 2 always equals 5.
That would just be racist then if it equaled 5.
What? I am so confused.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you. All right. I mean, I guess you could say there's different methods of doing math, like the Japanese method of multiplication and stuff. I've seen this, It's like memorizing timetables besides there's like this technique over there that they have, and it has to do with lines and stuff.
Yeah.
And for someone who memorized their timetables, it looks like that's ridiculously confusing. But for someone who grows up with that, it's like, what do you mean? You just go, bam, they got your answer.
Right. I mean, they just learn everything by adding over and over and over and over. That's what multiplication is.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, that's all it is.
Serial addition is what it is, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we memorize.
Yeah, we memorize the tables
up to a certain point.
Yeah, well, they kind of didn't really teach that anymore. I think Common Core does not teach times tables because I dealt with that with my children when they were going through all that early stages of math.
So open mind on it with what you experience, because my kids have autism, and so it just spins everything. When you saw the math that your kids were doing, and keep an open mind, so take a step back, right? What did you think? Did you think it was better different or worse than what we learned, or the method that we learned. It's the method more
Right,
than
right,
the
right.
end result.
I didn't like it. Just maybe because it was too different than what I learned.
Uh-huh.
It felt like they were reinventing the wheel. When I saw the Common Core math my kids were learning, it was like, why are we reinventing the wheel? Here's what really pissed me off about the system is my older daughter would come home upset. Like this was like second, third grade era,
Mm-hmm.
fourth grade. She'd come home upset because she would get answers marked incorrect on her math, even though she had the right answer in the end.
Right.
Because she didn't draw some stupid little stick or circle or whatever to show something with the problem. They would count against her. I'm like, that is BS. She got the right number mathematically. She got the right answer. Stick your bloody sticks and whatever symbols up your bum. I know sounds so stupid saying that, but that right there killed it for me.
I think we're far enough in that we can go ahead and go PG if you need to.
That Common Core math was just like, You're making children think they're doing stuff wrong when they're still finding the correct answer mathematically. So I was like, no.
Was she showing some sort of work then?
Yeah, she was doing something, but she didn't draw the right sticks or the right symbols.
So she still showed work.
Yeah, and
got to the correct answer.
Her answer was correct because she did the math.
But she didn't show the work they wanted.
And so
Right.
she would get the answer considered wrong. And
because
it's just that's bullshit.
I do understand the concept in math. Like, I used to get tagged on that. Like, get homework handed back. Now, I had teachers that were a little more understanding.
I was
They'd
able
hand
to
it
solve
back
things
and say,
in my head and not show work.
Yeah, I used to
do
that a lot.
that. It's just like, not big super things, but some of the more simplified problems, I'm like, oh, I can do that in my head,
Right.
I get in trouble because I didn't show my steps, but I didn't get it wrong,
Well, I didn't get in trouble, but I'd have homework handed back. It's like, yes, that's the right answer. Show me how you got to it.
Show me how you got it, yeah.
And sometimes I'd argue, it's like, you know how I got to it. He's like, I know, and you know. Now you show me.
Right.
I'm the teacher, you are the child. Do what you're told. Okay.
But that's why I didn't like Common Core math, because I felt like they were reinventing the wheel on how to solve problems. And when a student would solve the problem, but just not in a stupid little way, they would tell them they're wrong. And I didn't agree with that. So.
Yeah. Well, and the problem with the educational system is that they do that. I think this is a problem with society at large. It's even a larger thing. That we're always trying to fix a problem, and we don't like the idea that maybe the way we did it 40 years ago was the way.
Right.
It's like, we had this problem solved. But then y'all decided that no, we need to do it a different way, and that doesn't work. And so now here we are dealing with this problem that was solved.
It was already solved, yeah.
And that's happened. Like, they went with, for a while there, they had this thing called whole reading, which actually was right around the time you and I were going through high school. It's pretty old.
Okay.
But the whole concept was that kids would learn to write by reading. And so it's kind of like learning to speak. So we learn to speak by existing in the environment of speech, in English.
Right.
That's how children learn.
Yeah.
Right? It's not necessarily how adults learn, although we can learn that way. Drop you and I into a Spanish-speaking country, and if we're there long enough, eventually we'll speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But you know what we won't do? We won't know how it's put together. We'll just know how to say things.
We'll learn the string of things to say.
Right.
We
It is that way.
Yeah.
It's
good
like,
point, yeah.
why does that work? Well, I don't know why it works.
Whatever he says,
I just know that's the way you do it. And the problem with that is then you get like incorrect things. Like, I was listening to my Spanish broadcast, Españolistas. Plug for Españolistas. If you're looking for Spanish, it's a good podcast.
You should probably bring up something so we can see changes. I don't think anybody's been talking.
No, I've been monitoring.
Okay.
No, nobody's there. Jade
checked in.
Giving us, and she's still there. She's still there, but we're probably sitting on the counter or something while she plays a game.
That's fine.
That's fine. We don't mind. Anyhow, the where was I? Spanish. So of course that podcast you have the native Colombian, the wife, and the husband is American, so he's learning Spanish, and he's pretty advanced, right? Yeah. And they were on one topic, and she said, "Yeah, she paused their train of thought, as it were, and she said, as a side, one of the reasons that my husband is confused on this one is because a lot of native speakers don't do this one right. Oh. They speak it. It's like using the word ain't. which technically you could argue that ain't is a contraction between am and not. So I ain't cold is grammatically correct.
But it still doesn't sound very good.
No, you sound dumb, right?
Yeah.
But that's one. There's, what you doing? I'm not doing nothing, right? Like people say that.
Yeah.
It's like, is that grammatically correct? No, because actually, if you follow the English context, what you've said is you're doing something. You haven't identified what you're doing, but you said you're not doing nothing. So you must be doing something. Right. Point being is that that's how we would learn, and we would pick up wherever we got dropped. Whether we were in Mexico, then the double L would be a yus sound. If we got dropped in Colombia, the double L would be more of a j sound, like a J. If we got dropped in Argentina, it would be more of a sh sound, like she or sheep or shenanigans. So, but we wouldn't really, we just know that's the way it is. We wouldn't know why.
Why, yeah.
And so the problem with this whole reading program is that's exactly what you get. It's like, and if you read only Hemingway, then you're going to write like Hemingway. And Hemingway's grammar was not that great. I know, because I read Hemingway, and I don't like Hemingway. To this day, I don't like Hemingway.
I guess his writing wasn't earnest enough.
Oh my God.
I'm here all week.
That was horrible. No, it's just like, I read The Old Man and the Sea, and I read, there was another one. It was about some woman who drank a lot.
Okay.
No, it wasn't it.
I didn't read any like Hemingway on my own, but I've read excerpts.
Was it A Call to Arms? Yeah. I didn't like the sentence structure. I didn't like the way he wrote.
Oh.
And it was very bleak. His stories were very bleak. Of course, he was a depressed guy. Didn't he commit suicide? He killed himself.
I don't know.
He did. Yes. Hemingway killed himself. But, the stories were really bleak and stuff. Who wrote Grapes of Wrath? Was that Hemingway? Somebody help me. Who wrote Grapes of Wrath? Anyone know who wrote Grapes of Wrath?
You have a phone and a computer right next to you.
Oh, still here. She's knitting. Oh. Yes, it is very hard to comment via text whilst knitting.
You have a computer right there that you can use to look up.
Okay. We had this discussion. So yesterday or the day before.
Let me Google that for you.
I will Google it for myself. In the meantime, tell me your opinion on Fox News shows or even opinion shows using cell phones during the broadcast. And go.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not attacking. I'm just like, really, go with
right.
that.
It was that one post. What was that? I don't remember the name of the show, but it was a commentary post the debate on Thursday, the train wreck of a debate, and I was commenting because this professional hostess, she was sitting there doing stuff on her phone while someone else was. She had asked a question to one of the other the guests, I guess, and so she started playing with her phone while the guest was answering the question. I was like, well, this seems kind of unprofessional. I know you're using a phone right now doing a broadcast,
right?
But it's just you and
I. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
It's like it's an
but then again,
point.
didn't it turn out she was actually reading notes or something? I think.
Yeah,
it was part of the discussion. She wasn't sitting there texting her husband or whatever,
Yeah, and I'm thinking generally speaking, well, okay, so we sent a text message to Nathan. All right. So
that's different. That was part of the show. Have fun.
Yeah, but generally, we don't have text message conversations with our wives or call someone sitting here on the phone.
Like, hold on. Yeah, hey, what up, bro?
Yeah, here, let's just hit some hold music, which we only have one hold music. So anyhow, I think it's just the way the world is now. We're just, screens and tablets and phones have become so part of our life that it's not considered unprofessional.
I do it.
There's
been a few times where I've gotten on my phone and answered a text or whatever. During a broadcast.
And you're right. There's a different level between what we do, which is just fun, right, and what somebody who is making money or spending some broadcast company's money. That's the thing. We're spending nobody's money except for yours, your electricity, your heat. Well, it's my gas.
Your gas, my water, electricity in this case,
right?
Whatever.
No, I get it. But the point is, we're spending a little bit of our money and stuff. But it's not like we're getting paid. you know, 100 grand a year, each of us,
whatever they
to
do.
entertain a bunch of people,
Right.
and then we're just like.
Now, I wouldn't
away.
complain if someone wanted to pay us 100 grand a year to entertain.
I wouldn't complain if someone wanted to pay us $50 a year and a
beer.
6-pack.
Yeah, yeah.
Has to be a good 6-pack. None of that Aslan Classic Lager stuff or Natural Light. Refer to our short, our one short. Refer to the short.
Just our luck, it would be like, you know, a 6-pack of nasty ice beer, you know.
Schlitz.
Oh.
Keystone Ice.
Yeah.
Is Keystone even around anymore?
I don't know, and I hope not.
Oh man, that was get drunk beer and nothing else.
That was worst hangover ever beer, you know.
You couldn't even cook with that beer. I tried. Didn't work.
Try to put on some chicken or something, it just didn't work.
You're just like, nope, this is not working at all. That was bad beer. There's quite a few bad beers out there. Just you and I don't drink them because we're better. That's right, better.
We know what's beer and what's not beer.
Yeah, well, that's actually, we can tell you what's beer and not beer. You can bring us a beer and we'll taste it. If we don't like it, we'll tell you that's not beer.
It's not a beer. Like that nasty Goza.
Ew.
That was,
yeah.
You're gonna keep dinging over here.
I hear your phone dinging, and I see you boldly, strongly just glancing. But I glance all the time, like Jade says, still here, knitting though. Oh, I already mentioned
read that. No, it's...
Let me read it again.
Conversation among my my Friday beer crowd that I usually meet.
Oh, yes.
They're over at Barrington's.
Barrington's?
Yeah, it used to be Rustica downtown.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now it's now an Irish pub.
It's Irish!
Irish, yeah. So a few of them were down there having a couple rounds, trying to get some of the other guys to come out. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've been there one time since it's converted over to Barrington's. You know, it was bloody hot in there.
Bloody hot.
Like it was bloody hot.
Wow.
And I walked in, I'm like, "Oh, what are you doing?" It's like they were, because it serves food. It's not just a bar. It serves food. It's a restaurant, but it's like they had all their ovens and stoves going, but there's no ventilation anywhere. The heat was just trapped in the whole restaurant. So it was like, oh, let me get a beer. I'm gonna go outside of the patio. I sat out in the patio. I had a beer with Charles, the drummer. That was the night we played G's. You know, so it was pre-show beer. You know.
I was gonna say because that show got shut down by the cops.
It did.
Well done. You've been shut down by the cops.
Apparently, if you have an all ages show, you have to shut it down by 10.
Oh, really?
I think that was the caveat there. Not so much the noise, is because it was down as an all ages show.
Well, I gotta tell you, old boy is not doing it right as far as developing a good relationship with his landlord.
Yeah, I guess he's not allowed to do shows anymore.
Yeah, well, that's his fault.
What I understand, yeah, because he never cleared it with the building property managers, whatever, and he never cleared it ahead of time. There were complaints by other business operators in the same building, and so yeah, that kind of sealed the deal. I guess he's not allowed to do that. So quick catch up, real quick, Jade. There was a skate shop here where we live that would do these little local band shows every now and then on Fridays. A little punk skater night or a metal night. And one of the metal nights, my band got to play there, and we were the last ones to play. And
they were the best band.
He's being
absolutely honest. I'm being absolutely honest.
And,
listen to all the bands, Steve.
I know. I appreciate you being there too. I mean that. We were the last guys to play. We had 2 songs to go. The cops shut us down because after 10 o'clock, blah blah blah. Anyway, before that, either when the first or second band was on, the building manager showed up and he was just like, "What is going on here?" And we're just like, he was talking to us at first. We're like, "I don't know.
We're not in control of this. We're here to play."
The owner of the store, or I guess the leaser or whatever
right.
of the store, talked to him and. Found out later that it was just like, yep, we can't do this anymore. Yeah.
Well, it really is his own fault, and he did some bonehead things, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So this was amusing because the guy, he comes in, he's like, we gotta shut it down. They say they're gonna fine me if we keep going. It's like, all right, so yeah, you gotta shut it down. And he's like, and there was a little confusion. And then Steve's like, well, how much is your band? Either Zach or Vic or somebody said, well, how much is the fine? It's like, $250? I don't know. Like, if you guys want to pay the fine, go ahead. And there was like this brief look amongst a bunch of people that had good jobs, and we're like, okay, so there's 4 of us. Yeah,
Not that expensive.
It's like, that's like McDonald's for my family. Okay, sure, we could do this. It's like, and he's like, well, I don't know, but it could be more, but you still got to pay the fine. And like, oh, all right. Like, and then the crowd, which is mainly young people, rebellious and unwise, they're complaining, and he jumps to the microphone and screams, F the police! At which point, the band's like, I guess we're playing. And we had arms in the air, picks in hand,
guitar strings
coming down, and this dude jumps. He's like, no, we can't. It was actually kind of funny, which I appreciate. Yeah, pick your battle, but don't posture. Just say, hey, this is the way you go. And the truth is, you got to live within the system. Yeah. It's like, you could.
My services will be required here.
Steve, the fetcher of the groceries and other things. This is the one thing that we do that you will never see on a professional. And now, Barbara Walters, where are you going, Barbara? My husband just got home. I need to help him bring in the groceries. Dude, you can just move pot cam, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's just throw that out of the way. So anyways, old boy really did it wrong, because he should have controlled it. He should have cleared it. I mean, no loud. It was loud. I had earplugs in, and actually, Steve, your band was the loudest, because when you guys came on,
it should be loud.
Oh, you were the loudest. When you guys came on, my earplugs were almost not enough.
Oh yeah.
And those are professional level earplugs, man. I mean, I had goo shot into my ears, so they are the same shape as the insides of my ears. And it was uncomfortably loud. It was insanely loud. And it was that. The microphone's on, sweetheart. Uh-huh. You can't see her, but you can hear her. Anyhow, they were the best, though. I'll tell you. So they had, for one thing, they had some really tight starts and stops where the song would be going, jump, chicka, jump, chicka, jump, chicka. The whole band would stop, and they'd wait for a moment, and then start again. Jump, chicka, jump, chicka, jump. It was really cool. They had some tight stuff. Not a lot of dynamics, because metal is not a dynamic genre. It's all just loud. Although one of the ways it does change is when the drummer and the rhythm guitarist don't play, so Steve's the rhythm guitarist, and Charles, you've heard that name, he's a drummer. So they would sit out, and then it would just be the lead guitarist and the bass player would do something. And then it got a little quieter, and it was like arpeggiated, and it was almost clean. I mean, it was still heavily distorted guitar, but you could really hear it come out. Like, you could hear the notes, and it was pretty good. And then Steve would come out. They had one, I don't know, it's Afafaya or something. It's a town in Iraq. The lead guitarist is a veteran, Iraq war veteran and stuff, and so he's been over there, and so he wrote a song about it, and it's really cool because there's like a quiet part. So think like, like the Metallica parts where they have a lot of the acoustic guitar, and then the heavy metal part comes in. He kind of bounces back and forth. I really enjoyed the song. It was really good, insanely loud, but really, actually, good songwriting. No lyrics because they don't have a lyricist, and whoever did the sound check didn't have the vocals loud enough. I mean, I don't think that the PA system could keep up with these boys' amps. After you got the bass amp, Zach's amp, Steve's amp cranking, the PA was just done. It just didn't have enough watts. And then the drums on top of all that. Crazy loud. It's pounding through my skull. The sound was being translated through my skull, not my eardrums. Woo! Big pretzel rods. Pretzel rods.
We'll just use this table.
I don't have any more tables. I brought all my tables.
Oh, I'll move this here, and then we can snack on some pretzels.
All right, snack time. Other things they don't do, actually, well, they do it on Livewire after hours. What do they call that?
What's that?
Oh, it was every the
Tab.
yes, that's a tab.
Breeze.
Breeze.
Tab.
Get it closer. Put it up there.
Breeze.
Up there.
See the tab.
Come on,
see?
Breeze. Tab. Look at this.
James probably like, what the hell are you talking about?
This is an argument. Don't worry, Jay. This is between us and someone else. A company that doesn't know how to put convenient tabs on their tamper-proof seals. That is some liquidy. Maybe you gotta stir it. Like a pretzel stir.
That's exactly what I'll do. Pretzel rod.
Pretzel rod. Stir, stir. Nope, it's just the most liquidy queso I've ever seen. That is low viscosity stuff.
It was gonna be messy.
I'm not good with messy. Because I get messy. Maybe we should add some cornstarch.
Alright. Could do that.
That is way too much work for a pre-made dip. Nope.
I'm gonna break this off so I don't double dip.
Well, that's what the other end is for.
Alright.
I'm gonna flip it. We will now pause for snacking.
Important to have something to eat while you're drinking beer.
I usually eat before I come over here.
That's what I do before I go to your place. I always eat something.
The sad thing is, you know, the one that really helps are high carb meals. Yeah, drinking alcohol is just designed to make you fat. So, you got two
Especially
choices. You either not drink as much and not get fat, or just embrace your fatness. I'm down with embracing the fatness.
So, were you still talking about the show?
I was just talking about, I was giving a critique of how your band did.
Oh, okay.
You know, I was talking about Afafaya, or what's the name of that town?
Oh, Yusufaya.
Yusufaya is the name of the song, and it's about a town in Iraq. I was just kind of pumping it up. You know, I liked that, like, you and Charles dropped out, and it was just Vic and Zach doing a thing, and then you did that really high speed. I thought it was really good. I thought it was good songwriting, at least instrumentally. I have no idea if the lyrics were any good because I couldn't hear them. I mean, the lead singer / lead guitarist, who's not supposed to be the lead singer, but since they don't have a lead singer, he is the lead singer.
It's kind of filling in.
I saw him do this.
He made like gestures with his mouth.
He did. He moved his mouth up and down. So either he's gasping for air, in which case we're all jerks because none of us tried to help him, or he was trying to sing, but it was just not happening. I mean, that I think personally that your amps were more than that PA system could handle. It wasn't a big PA system.
Those amps were easily 120 watts a piece. Going through 4x12 cabinet, half stack.
Mm-hmm.
We could have lit up a stadium with those amps, man.
You could have broken the windows in that place.
Yeah, so our amplifiers were definitely more than we needed for that size of that place.
You needed a little, what do they call that? Orange? Like a little 6-inch orange would fill that place.
Little 15 watt amp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No doubt, man. You were definitely the loudest. I know you said, well, we're supposed to be loud. Yeah, I'm not saying you were, not just that you were loud.
Well, no, we should have not.
You were the loudest.
I was joking about that, but I hope it wasn't so loud that it just sounded like a wall of sound, you know?
Nope. I could hear the drums, the bass, and you.
Okay.
And it was clear. I could not hear Zach. Here we are, murder boarding your show.
That's all right.
But
I'm okay with constructive criticism.
But I mean, and that was just because you didn't have, there wasn't really enough time to do a proper setup.
Oh.
And I don't think you chose the best guy necessarily to do your sound check. I think maybe you should have thrown Vic out there. Also, and this is hard to do on the fly. You should have, I mean, well, you should have. it would be nice if you had like 5 or 10 minutes to actually
do a real sound check.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like I said, the solution very well might have been to turn you and Vic down instead of Zach up. I think the room was so saturated at that point, it's just there was no more room for any more sound waves. But I don't know.
the other thing, well, what's going to help now is I have that heater system, so that should help heater monitoring. I mean, that won't help with the sound check part, but it'll help with our playing. We would hear each other.
Well, your playing was fine. Like seriously, despite the fact that you had a little hard time hearing, the songs were tight. There's a couple I was mentioning. There's a couple stops and starts where you did. I really, I thought they were really well done. It's like the whole band stopped and then started.
Yeah, the use of I had those stops.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, overall.
It was fun. And then the show we played after that, at the fest, that was okay too. I mean, it wasn't. We were the first band to play. We were kind of a late entry on the bill, so we didn't play for very many people. But it doesn't matter. It was more stage experience. Ooh, excuse me. It was fun.
Outdoor, indoor.
Both.
So you were in a barn with the door open.
Yeah. It was kind of like a barn situated with the door open. Yeah.
I played Green Bay before.
Oh, okay. No, this wasn't Green Bank Farms. This was a private property down in the Green Bank area.
Nope, I haven't played there.
But it was somebody
But
who
I
had
did
a
play
big,
Green Bay Farm.
big barn.
That's what it was. It was a barn, and the door was open.
Yeah, this was a big barn. It had 3 doors,
Mm-hmm.
and all 3 of them were open. And we played as everybody else did. But we weren't that night. We weren't the only band to play the backing track because our drummer was out of town. Is out of town still. We actually played our show at the festival with the backing track with the drums. This is more for Jay than you already know that,
Right. I think you've already said this, by the way.
Oh, well, I wasn't sure she was on yet when
Yeah. Was it on this video or was it on the first video that crashed or the second video that crashed today?
I don't know.
We don't know anymore.
But I have a gig coming up in Seattle at a place called the Shanghai Room.
What's that? How big is it?
I don't know. I've never been in there. I looked them up online. It looks bigger than
What day of the week?
Thursday night, so I'll be taking time off for that one.
And I won't be there.
Well, we have another show the weekend after on a Saturday down at the Thirsty Crab. And it sounds funny.
It sounds like Clinton.
It is Clinton.
Yeah,
the name sounds funny to me. Yeah, Thirsty
What
Crab.
time?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'll find out.
August, July?
August.
Because I'm locked into all the Sundays during August and July. Going to church.
Right.
Like I cannot call out sick or skip or anything because I committed the choir leaders.
Oh, I mentioned this, yeah.
I talked briefly about, when Dan was here, it's like it is a lot of work to make a group of people do musical things.
Right.
And particularly amateurs and introducing new music and stuff, and not only that, but it's not so the music in my church, if you talk to arrogant Orthodox people, that's called marriage. It is, I'm not gonna lie, man. One of the sins that is really prevalent in my church is pride. You'll hear lots of conversations that roll around. Aren't you glad you're Orthodox? It's like, I heard a sentiment like that. It's when I lived in Texas. Aren't you glad you're in Texas? No, it's hot, it's flat, and everybody drives half-ton pickup trucks that you can't put anything in because they're full of their egos.
Full of ego, man.
Right. Anyhow, but one of the things they'll say is like, our music sounds so different from Western music. It doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, for one thing, the whole 1-5 concept, which you're very familiar with. I read a really good article.
Hardcore.
I read a really good article that 1-5 is like universal. Every form of music out there. And people will bring up, well, what about the Indian music with the microtones? It's like, well, sure, it uses the microtones, but it never lands on one. It never sits on that quarter tone.
You know?
It bounces up. It'll do like, but it lands.
Big ass sitar, you know.
Yeah, but when it comes down to the note that it sits on, bum.
Right, it's a note, yeah.
Bum, bum, bum. 1, 5, 1. It just hits it. That is universal. And that is the same with Eastern Orthodox. Now, some of the scales, I'm actually keeping track, by the way. I have 19.
Oh, I was looking to see where the sun might be because it's getting about that time where I might need my sunglasses. But cloud cover came back, so
alright, you're safe.
I'm not going to be blinded. So, yes.
So, this is something, and,
So,
and
yeah,
I love.
Scales might be, you
Right.
know, exotic style scales, but
Right.
it's still derived off the
Yep, and you've
major
got.
scale, you know.
And you're familiar with some of them, you know. I don't punch like Muhammad Ali, so there's Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian,
Oh, your modes, yeah.
you know, Lydian,
I don't-
Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian,
Locrian, yeah.
and then
Back to
right back to Ionian.
Ionian,
Right, so all the way around. I don't punch like Muhammad Ali. Yep. Hey,
Mnemonics,
they
man.
work.
They work, yeah. I was going to say mnemonics work.
So anyhow, effectively, that is what the Orthodox Church uses as well.
Ah, okay.
It took a little while to figure out the modes because for a while there it's like, oh, well, the melody, the tone describes the melody. It's like, no, it really is the church modes, just like the Roman Catholic Church. Because you got the Eastern Catholic Church, Eastern Orthodoxy, the Orthodox Church. You know, you got the Roman Catholic Church, and then you got Protestantism beyond that.
Sure.
So anyways, but it is true that the music sang is not Hillsong. It's not 1-4-5 pop music. And neither is it the hymns, which a lot of the hymns are very similar to Bach chorales. I mean, they are 4-part vocal harmonies type deal. You know, a lot of, like your Methodist hymns, your Lutheran hymns and things. They're like that. So, anyhow, point being, it's a lot of work, and so the choir directors were like, we need a break. We're going to take a break for the summer, July and August. But then they asked me, it's like, would you consider chanting? We do a lot of chanting, which really is just truly chanting. Da 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 da. That's it. It's not really
Repeats it, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's 100% chanting. Exactly what you would think of as chanting.
When I hear chant, I think Gregorian.
Yep, very much like
Gregorian
that.
chant,
You know, slightly less melodic. I mean, you know, Gregorian chant is more music. It's less chant and more musical. If you listen to like that one group of monks that put out that album,
Chant. It's called chant.
this is stuff. But still, yeah, exactly that. Think Hollywood stereotypical, you know, medieval castle with the monks. They go to the monastery and that, and you hear that. It's like exactly like that. It's exactly like that. And I used to think it was very, very like this is how we do it. No, you make it up. Totally make it up. You listen to the other people do it. It's like make it sound like that. Like, is it? No, just make it sound like that. It's okay.
It's okay, yeah.
All right, I will make it sound like that. Oh, do. Perfect.
You sound just like one of the Gregor guys.
Yeah, one of them Gregor guys.
So yeah, no, we have the show, 2 shows in August, nothing in September, and then we have a show in October at a place called Sleight of Hand Cellars down in Seattle. I guess you're more of a wine bar kind of place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I haven't looked them up online yet to see this kind of what the venue looks like.
You need a singer.
Yeah, we have a guy that's talking to. We keep doing instrumental with vocals you can't hear. No, we have a guy we've been talking to. We're trying to solidify like, hey, are you doing this or what's going on? You know, because if you're not interested, that's fine. Let us know,
Let us know so we can find
so we can
someone.
keep looking for somebody. we've had other singers like say, hey, I'll sing with you. You know, I'm not gonna join your band, but I'll sing. And it's just like, well, all right. Session singers for live shows, you know.
It's possible to do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I'd be okay with that because I'd rather, because you know, all our songs, every one of our songs has lyrics.
Right.
You know.
Well,
so.
and the thing is, so your songs are, like what I've heard so far, are enjoyable, but they are clearly not written as purely instrumental.
No, they're not. There's not enough changes in them.
So there's something missing
Right.
that needs to be added.
They have repetitive parts where the vocals are supposed to be to kind of fill in that.
Yeah,
fill
exactly.
it in, you know. Oh no, you can do better than that. There it is. Proud of you. Proud of you.
I suddenly feel patronized. Maybe a little.
Maybe
Yeah,
a little.
just a little. Okay.
For fun. Not truly patronizing you. Just having fun. Right. How we roll, man.
Surge.
Well, I turned the gas down just a hair a little bit, and it didn't seem surged. No, I could be wrong. I'm gonna let this sit for a minute.
Maybe you should just turn it off. Let the natural head pressure on the.
Well, I'm down to about 6 psi on there now on the gauge.
That's practically off.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be okay because it's actually. That's you know what I'm dumb. I forgot that was the kind of the with this regulator. Once you got your beer carbonated where it should be,
Yeah.
it was better to turn the pressure down to about 5 or 6 psi.
This is frustrating. We're getting real choppy. I don't know what's wrong.
Well, everybody's home now. They might be using up my bandwidth, you know.
I don't think so.
Streaming and stuff.
I think it's the OBS versus YouTube. I don't have that setting right.
Oh.
When we get done tonight, let's play with that. Maybe even set up some private broadcasts where we can see what happens.
That would have been bad.
That would have been very bad.
Would have lost
3 minutes and 20
would have
seconds.
lost a nice pour, and then I would have also probably broken the glass too. I'm sure the glasses are replaceable, but break a glass.
Oh,
These were like
absolutely not.
these were actually like a white elephant beer gift.
Oh yeah.
At work. No, maybe I don't know what it was given to me. It might have been a Christmas office gift.
2 minutes and 34 seconds until the hops.
All right.
I'm gonna go grab them now.
Might as well get them stage. By the way, that boils like textbook, dude.
I know, it's been rolling along just nicely. Just like the Macbeth witches. Bubble, bubble, foil, and trouble. That's right, I'm cultured. That's the only part of that play I know. Even though I played in that play in elementary school. I forget who I was. Some random red shirt guard. Pretty sure I ended up dead. But not like I got a death scene. Just like later on say, oh, that guy's dead.
You were in a tree or something?
No, I was not a tree. Nobody was a tree. Although in Macbeth, the trees move. I mean, they're all enemy soldiers, but...
Never read Macbeth like as a standalone. I think we studied it in high school. Every year, Texas education system, all 4 years of high school, 9 through 12, it was always English and literature combined. So we were, at the same time we were learning grammar, you also had to study literature.
Okay. Which is, that's not a bad way to do
No, I'm not complaining. Just, so, whenever I make all those references, it was an English class. It's like, all right, grammar books out, whatever, learning grammar stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, all right, your literary stuff, you know, literature books are about that bloody thick. And they were, depending on what year you were in, you know, freshman, sophomore kind of stuff, the themes of the Shakespeare we studied or whatever. Like, when I was in high school, we studied, these were standalone books we actually were issued by the school for this class. We studied To Kill a Mockingbird, which is all banned now,
Is it really?
I don't know, like, I think schools still teach it, but it's on the list. Well, I need to clarify some things because people hear banned, they think, like, the book is not allowed to be used. No, it's just a list of books that were, like, people complained against, Tom Sawyer, all that kind of stuff,
Huckleberry Finn was
Huckleberry Finn, yeah, Huckleberry Finn. Yeah, because, there was racial stuff in there, but you know what? Those books, Huckleberry Finn was written in late 19th century. People, not saying it was okay, but people thought differently back then. So the book is a representation of what was going on in that time of life, a period of life in the United States, you know what I mean?
And
same with To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird took place in what? The 1940s or 50s?
Right.
And it addressed racism.
Well, so did Huckleberry Finn.
But it was against racism,
They were critiques.
They were anti-racist.
Yeah, they were. And it's, but they used words.
Right, there were words in there.
And words are scary, and that's annoying as all get
I think
out
it's
for me.
terrible that we as a society, as a culture in the United States, have become so weak that we can't read or hear a word.
Well, certainly,
in some context, it's telling it like
a
historical
joke.
context, or telling a joke,
And the way we say that word now is like, the word that black guys can say, but I can't say.
Right, we have
to literally.
We have to add 20 more words to say something,
Mm-hmm.
And not just with that word, but just lots of things. We can't say things now.
There are certain words that I refuse to censor. Like you can't say rape anymore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just
of course, rape is a bad thing. We all know this. But
it's
not
not
being
a
allowed to
racial slur.
say it though, especially if you're trying to describe something or use it in maybe a scholastic context or context.
Context?
That was a slip. Context.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, you just see on YouTube, especially when there's like text put up with the commentary and they bleep out words like rape and all that. I mean, sure, rape's a bad thing. It should never happen to anybody, But you're not going to change anything or make it go away magically because you don't say it or you censor the spelling of it,
That was part of the point of the whole Voldemort thing in Harry Potter. I mean, she was making that point. That whole, the name we don't say. It's like, look, man, all you're doing is giving the name more power.
Right. There's a name for that. Streisand effect.
Is it really?
I think it's the Streisand.
Is that what the Streisand effect is?
Well, you make a big thing about something,
and then
it just makes it more popular. It makes it more popular, yeah.
Yep. We're gonna ban this video. Okay, now people are gonna find
watch it. Yeah. Now I want to see this video. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Catholic Church with the brown guy. The brown guy, something with an artist, Italian guy, the Da Vinci Code.
Oh.
Right? So the Catholic Church got the panties all in a bunch, and now everybody wants to read the Da Vinci Code.
Right.
Even if they don't. Well, Dan Brown.
Dan Brown, yeah. Dan Brown was the author. Yeah.
Right. And then his next 2 or 3 in the Catholic Church, to their credit, they learned. And they're like, it's nice fiction.
Exactly.
And when they did that,
why they got all bent out of shape? Because in his book, it was implied that Jesus had a bloodline. So bent out of shape about that. It implied that Jesus was mortal.
Right.
And so they freaking lost their minds, Dan Brown didn't invent that theory. He took that theory from a book that was written in 1981 called Holy Blood, Holy Grail, or something like that. A bunch of researchers, it was like 4 of them, I forgot their names. They wrote this book as a theoretical history, and they clearly said, we have no proof of this, this is what we think. Because the things, supposedly things in writings they had found that implied that, that Jesus had a bloodline.
Right.
And the Holy Grail was a metaphor for Mary Magdalene.
Right.
So Dan Brown just made a story out of it.
Yeah.
He didn't invent the theory. But I remember that when the church lost their mind over all that.
Yep. And then they let there's 2 more after that, right? He got sued for one of them, right?
It was Da Vinci Code got sued for.
What was it, Angels and Blood?
Angels and Demons. That movie came out after Da Vinci Code, but the book was written before Da Vinci Code, though.
Okay.
Back, Angels and Demons was the first Robert Langdon story. That was Tom Hanks' character in the movies.
Yep.
So Angels and Demons was the first book written with his character, and then Da Vinci Code was the second book written, and he's written a few others over the years. But they're not all grounded on religious theory either. Some of them are grounded on like the like oh gosh, brain fart. Oh my gosh, they have temples. Masonry, Freemasonry.
Freemasons?
Yeah, the Freemasons and stuff. In fact, the one that came out after the Da Vinci Code, which was called the Symbol, I believe, that one's kind of grounded in Masonic theory and lore, you know.
Uh-huh.
And then another one that came out later was grounded in like Dante's Inferno. You know, it's not all religious stuff.
Well, Dante's Inferno could be kind of religion. I mean,
Oh, right, because yeah, it's a trip through hell, a walk with hell, purgatory, and all that. You know, with Virgil. I've read part of it. I never read the whole thing. But I did read the Dan Brown book called Inferno, which is that the Dante's Divine Comedy as the basis for his story. But it was another typical Dan Brown story where kind of world changing event could happen if something doesn't get stopped. You know.
right.
In that case, it was fertilization, like infertilization. Excuse me, making like 2/3 of the population infertile. The whole premise of Inferno was about overpopulation. Uh, yeah, Angels and Demons. It was about antimatter or antimatter. It was more of a science book,
Or sciencey.
but shrouded with religion to kind of feel and esotericism. He has some books that he wrote before that. I just know all this stuff because I was not some like, oh my god, Dan Brown's the man, but I enjoyed the stories.
Right.
So I learned a little bit about who he was.
Uh-huh.
And I read some of his earlier books that were independent stories. One called The Fortress, kind of an interesting take on AI and stuff, you know.
So it's not about a fortress?
No.
That's missing.
It was a metaphor for a computer program or computer system. And then like the first book he wrote, I forget the name of it. It was like about discovering the ice up in like the Arctic or something like that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And then like the conspiracies behind it and the cover-ups and stuff. But it was all fiction, you know. So it was fun. I went through a period where I read all his books. And I have not read his last few books. After the Da Vinci Code, I tried reading the Symbol. I got about halfway through it and just kind of lost interest. You know. And I did read Inferno. I was on deployment, so I'm like, I got nothing else to do. I was to read a book. It was someone sent it to me in a care package, so I was like, all right, so I read it.
I need to figure out what to read. I kind of want to read also Sprach Zarathustra.
You want to read nonfiction? Or you want to read classic?
Well, that's Nietzsche.
Nietzsche? Yeah.
Yeah.
Read it, man.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Put it on your nightstand. Read about half an hour each night.
We gotta find other times to read. I am one of those. It's bedtime.
Oh, you're a switch, huh? Okay.
Oh yeah, I am a switch.
Yeah, me. I get home from work. I'm like, this is me. Pretend I can turn my light on. The light's on my chest, lighting up my book. And I lay in bed and read, you know, for at most usually an hour.
No, that's Wendy.
It helps put me to sleep, you know.
If we go to bed at the same time, you know, because we work different shifts and stuff.
Right.
If we go to bed at the same time, she's like, "Is it okay if I'm on my phone?" And she's usually doing her Japanese app or something, right? I don't care. I'll be out in about 45 seconds.
Yeah.
I lay down, I'm gone.
Now I'm like you in that sense. Once I get done reading and I shut off my I put my book away. What I like to do is I find a YouTube video that I can listen to. I don't have to watch it. I'll find a stupid YouTube video I can listen to. I'll get it going. I have it set up to where it only plays the one video, and then I turn off my data on my phone so it just uses my Wi-Fi. Because I've had this bite me in the ass before. I didn't have my YouTube set up to not autoplay, and my data went out one night, and so it switched over to.
So Wi-Fi went out.
Excuse me, Wi-Fi went out. And I switched over to data. And it kept playing the next video and the next video and the next video.
Geez.
So yeah,
That cost you $60.
it was expensive. I actually pay for data still. For anybody who might still be listening,
So do I.
you know, I'm one of the rare ones, or a few like Jamey that.
Well, you
I don't have an unlimited.
Everyone pays for data.
Yeah.
It's just some people pay
Right.
for the unlimited, and
I've had unlimited in the past, but it was just stupidly expensive. And then I really looked at what I was doing, and it's like, I'm rarely on my phone outside of home, or if I don't have a Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah.
So I thought there's no point for me paying for all this stuff that I'm not really using. I don't need to use. You know, I have a 3 gig plan that I'm sharing with my daughter, and unless something just really dumb happens, like Wi-Fi
Right.
going out, not realizing it, we don't go over our plan. We both. This is a teenage girl too. We don't. We're good. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just got the monthly email. You've used over half your data, and by over half, so I only have 1 gig. Right, it costs like $15 a month.
Right.
So they're talking like 0.51 gigabytes instead of like.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like yes, it's over half technically, but it renews on the 8th.
Yeah,
It's
mine's
like,
the 24th, I think.
I'm not going to use half a gig.
You're fine.
Between
Yeah,
now and then.
you're fine. Yeah, my daughter got me last pay period. She didn't. Was streaming in her bed, just laying watching YouTube and doing her streaming stuff.
Huh?
The Wi-Fi was off the whole time.
Oh,
she didn't realize it.
She was rocking on data.
Yeah, it was. Luckily, it was the last day of the pay.
Okay.
But she went over the limit.
Oh, not quite as bad as yours.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's kill the flames.
It's time.
Tell
Maybe
you what.
kill the broadcast too.
Why don't we play the song? All right, we're gonna play the song. We're gonna get the show going on, and then we are gonna come back and kill the broadcast. Sound good?
Okay.
Or we could kill the broadcast.
I don't hear.
No, actually. Let's go ahead and kill the broadcast because it takes like 15 seconds.
Hey,
Jade, we're gonna kill the broadcast.
Now that we can finally make a decision.
Yes, now that we have like decided on things. All right, so we got it all set up. All right, okay, and now, are you ready? Now I've been back and forth to say goodbye.
Right.
We so need a production team. All right, as always, relax.
Don't worry.